What if I told you that New Year's Eve isn't just about champagne, parties, and fireworks, but is actually a desperate, ancient battle against cosmic chaos? From exploding mountains in the east to the brutal humiliation of kings in the cradle of civilization, the history of how we celebrate survival is far darker and more fascinating than you think. Why do we really make noise at midnight? And how did a slap in the face save an ancient empire from destruction? Before we step through the threshold of time to find the answers, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Best of History and Mythology. Hit that like button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a journey into the past. Stand at the edge of the present moment and visualize a massive archway suspended in the void of the cosmos. This is not merely a door, but a spiritual checkpoint that separates what was from what will be. Guarding this passage is the most enigmatic figure of the ancient Roman pantheon, known as Janus Bifrons. While the other gods of Rome controlled singular elements like war or the sea, Janus held dominion over the abstract and terrifying concept of transition. He possesses two distinct faces gazing in opposite directions. One visage is weathered and weary, staring eternally backward into the fading history of the past year. The other face is youthful and sharp, peering into the obscure mists of the future. The month of January derives its name directly from this deity, but his significance goes far deeper than the Gregorian calendar. Janus represents the phenomenon known as liminality. This is a state of being betwixt and between, a threshold where the old rules no longer apply and the new order has not yet been established. In the ancient mind, the turning of the solar cycle was not a guaranteed astronomical event, but a moment of supreme vulnerability. There was a genuine numinous dread that time itself might unravel. If the cycle broke, the universe would slide back into primordial chaos and entropy. Therefore, the celebration of the new year did not originate as a festive party, but as a spiritual necessity to ensure the sun would continue its journey. Humans felt small against the vast indifference of the cosmos. To combat this anxiety, civilizations developed apotropaic rituals designed to ward off evil and encourage favorable outcomes. The doorway of Janus had to be passed with intention. If one stumbled across this threshold, it was believed that the misfortune would ripple through the entire coming year. We often view our modern midnight countdowns as simple fun, yet they are the direct descendants of this ancient anxiety. We gather together, we make noise, and we perform specific actions because, deep in our collective subconscious, we are still standing before Janus. We are petitioning the keeper of the keys to unlock the door and allow us safe passage into tomorrow. As we step through this temporal archway, we carry with us the strange and desperate tools we have invented to bargain with fate. These tools are the strange traditions and folklore we are about to explore. In the vast tapestry of Eastern folklore, the turning of the lunar cycle was overshadowed by a singular predatory threat. Deep beneath the crushing depths of the ocean or high within the mist-shrouded peaks slept a chimeric monstrosity known as the Nian. This beast possessed the head of a lion and the body of a bull, and it slumbered for the entire year, only to awaken with a voracious appetite on the eve of the new moon. The ancient villagers did not view this night as a time for joyous gathering, but as a desperate struggle for survival against this abomination. The legend dictates that the Nian would descend upon settlements to devour grain, livestock, and even children who were slow to hide. The people would flee to the mountains, leaving their homes vulnerable until a fortuitous discovery changed the course of history. It was observed that the monster recoiled in terror from the color vermilion and was sent into a panic by loud cracking sounds. This realization transformed the victimized villagers into warriors of ritual. They began to paste crimson paper on their door frames and wear clothes dyed in the hue of cinnabar because the beast could not stand the intensity of the red spectrum. This visual shield was paired with an auditory weapon. Initially, villagers threw green bamboo stems into open fires. As the air pockets inside the bamboo heated up, they exploded with a sharp crack that drove the beast back into the shadows. This practice evolved dramatically with the invention of black powder. The Chinese alchemists inadvertently created the ultimate spirit deterrent. What we now admire as a pyrotechnic display was originally a sonic exorcism designed to cleanse the village of malevolent energy. Every explosion of a firecracker today is a stylized reenactment of that ancient battle. The term for celebrating the New Year in Chinese is Guo Nian, which literally translates to passing over the Nian or surviving the beast. It is a linguistic fossil proving that the holiday is not merely a calendar change, but a victory lap for humanity having survived the darkness for one more year. The red lanterns that line the streets are not just decorations, but remaining embers of the defensive fires lit to keep the monsters at bay. We have just seen how ancient people used loud noises and red colors to protect their families from monsters. Now I want to ask you, do you have a personal ritual, a specific object, or a superstition you perform to protect yourself or your home from bad luck? Let me know in the comments below. As we move from the external battlegrounds of loud explosions, we arrive at the intimate setting of the dinner table, where the war for the future is fought with silverware and appetite. In the realm of anthropology, this is known as sympathetic magic, where the physical characteristics of an object are believed to transfer their properties to the person who consumes it. Humanity has long held the belief that by ingesting symbols of wealth, one can metabolize actual prosperity. The stomach becomes a crucible for destiny, and the menu is carefully curated to ensure fiscal solvency for the coming months. In Spain, this ritual manifests as a frantic race against time known as the 12 Grapes of Luck. As the clock in the Puerta del Sol strikes midnight, the citizens attempt to consume a dozen grapes in perfect sync with the chimes. This practice is not an ancient druidic rite, but rather a brilliant maneuver of economic survival. It originated in the early 20th century when vine growers in Alicante faced a massive surplus of their harvest. To save their industry, they rebranded the excess fruit as a spiritual necessity. This successfully transformed a viticultural crisis into a mandatory superstition where failing to swallow the fruit before the final toll is considered an omen of bad luck. The obsession with round shapes continues in Italy, where the lentil reigns supreme. These small brown legumes are prized for their convex shape, which bears a striking resemblance to ancient gold coins. When cooked, they swell in size, suggesting the expansion of one's bank account. The act of eating them is a performative prayer for financial liquidity, where every spoonful represents a deposit into the treasury of fate. In the American South, this pecuniary symbolism evolves into a dish known as Hoppin' John. The meal is a calculated algorithm of ingredients where collard greens represent paper currency and black-eyed peas symbolize coins. Even the protein is chosen with superstitious precision. Pork is the preferred meat because pigs root forward into the earth when foraging, which symbolizes progress and future momentum. Conversely, consuming chicken is strictly forbidden on this night because the bird scratches backward, implying a regression into the past. By digesting these specific items, people believe they are biologically integrating the concept of abundance into their very being. If you are enjoying this feast of knowledge and want to uncover more secrets of the past, take a moment to subscribe to Best of History and Mythology. Smash that like button and turn on the bell to ensure you always get our newest content delivered right to your screen. In the narrow, winding alleys of southern Italy, the stroke of midnight signals a ballistic peril that transforms the city into a zone of calculated danger. The custom involves the violent ejection of accumulated domestic detritus directly onto the streets below. To walk through Naples during this volatile hour is to invite physical injury as earthenware pots, chipped porcelain, and obsolete appliances rain down from the open balconies. This aggressive act of defenestration is not mere vandalism but a concrete form of psychological purgation. The residents operate under the conviction that negative energy attaches itself to physical objects, like spiritual dust. By shattering these vessels against the pavement, they are effectively breaking the curse of the previous year and ensuring that the accumulated sorrow of the past cannot contaminate the future. A similar phenomenon occurs in the Hillbrow district of Johannesburg, where the urge to purge escalates to terrifying vertical heights. Here, the sheer density of the architecture turns the tradition into a lethal hail of heavy furniture, where refrigerators and sofas plummet from high-rise windows in a display of gravity and release. It is a collective agreement that the only way to clear space for new blessings is to physically discard the heavy burdens of the old cycle. In the equatorial heat of South America, this desire for destruction takes on a pyrotechnic form through the ritual of the burning of the years. The streets of Ecuador become crowded with papier-mâché simulacra known as monogotes. These are not simple scarecrows, but elaborate effigies often modeled after unpopular politicians, despised villains, or pop culture icons who defined the previous 12 months. They are stuffed with sawdust and newspapers that chronicle the tragedies and bad news of the concluding year. As the countdown ends, the entire nation ignites in a massive conflagration. The night air fills with acrid smoke as families watch the physical embodiment of their troubles turn to ash. The bravest souls perform a leap of faith by jumping directly over the open flames. This act of hurdling the fire serves as a thermal barrier, ensuring that the bad luck of the past cannot follow them across the scorched earth of the present. It is a brutal recognition that one cannot build a fresh start on top of old foundations without first reducing the past to cinders. We have seen how people burn and smash things to leave the past behind. If you could physically destroy one thing, one habit, one bad memory, or one fear to leave it in the old year forever, what would it be? Share your thoughts in the comments. Janus now seals the temporal archway and guides us to the very cradle of civilization, where the concept of a new year was first codified. We descend 4 millennia into the past to the dusty plains of Mesopotamia to witness the Akitu Festival. This 11-day ceremony was not a mere party, but a theological mechanism to reboot the universe. The central event took place within the inner sanctum of the Esagila temple, where the king of Babylon was forced to undergo a ritual of supreme debasement before the statue of the supreme god Marduk. On the 5th day of the festival, the absolute ruler of the empire was not celebrated, but stripped. The high priest removed the royal regalia, including the crown, the scepter, and the circle. The most powerful man in the known world was rendered vulnerable and made to kneel in the dust like a common prisoner. He had to swear a negative confession confirming that he had not neglected the holy city or sinned against the divine order. Once the king was defenseless, the high priest would raise his hand and strike the monarch across the face with full force. This was not a symbolic tap, but a stinging blow meant to induce physical pain. The fate of the entire civilization rested on the physiological reaction of the king. If the slap caused tears to flow from his eyes, it was interpreted as a favorable omen, indicating that Marduk was appeased and the cosmic cycle would renew. However, if the king remained dry-eyed and stoic, it was a portent of doom, signifying that the monarch would die and the empire would crumble into chaos. This ancient brutality is the skeleton key that unlocks every tradition we have explored. The grapes, the red lanterns, and the burning effigies are all diluted echoes of this primal fear. We no longer slap our leaders to ensure the sun rises, but we still frantically perform rituals to appease the unseen forces of time. The new year has never been about happiness. It is about survival. It is the collective sigh of relief that the universe has granted us permission to exist for one more revolution around the sun. Keep the fire burning, and may you always survive the darkness. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video here on Best of History and Mythology.